Now you're watching this video to understand what is the biggest untapped lead source for B2B service providers in 2025. Now, if you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, and you're solely relying on paid ads or referrals as your primary lead source, then you're leaving millions of dollars on the table. And the reason why is because a large majority of B2B leads from social media actually come from one single platform, and most business owners are completely ignoring it. Now, I built a following of over 55,000 people completely organically and generated more than 10 million impressions for myself and over 100 million impressions for our clients, all that eventually convert into actual qualified leads. And so over the course of this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this platform is the biggest untapped lead source for B2B in 2025, who's already there waiting to actually buy from you, and why your competitors are quietly building empires while you're stuck in a feast and famine cycle. So with that said, I'm sure that you want to see a little bit of proof. So you can see my 55,000 followers on the platform here, the 10 million impressions here, and examples of the types of what calendars look like for our clients, completely stacked and full, and inboxes full of highly qualified prospects that lead to payments like this on a Stripe dashboard. So if you want the same, then we'll go through that on this video here. So I want to start with a simple question. Where are your ideal clients actually spending their time? Because most B2B business owners think the answer is either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And while those platforms have their place, they're not necessarily where the buyers with real budgets are actually hanging out. So the platform I'm talking about is LinkedIn. And here's what makes LinkedIn completely different. It has over 65 million decision makers actively on the platform. These aren't just random people scrolling through cat videos. These are CEOs, they're VPs, directors, and business owners who actually have the authority to say yes to your offer. Now, LinkedIn members have 2 times the buying power of the average person on social media. So think about that for a second. When someone sees your content on LinkedIn, they're statistically twice as likely to have the budget to actually invest in your services compared to someone on another platform. And here's the kicker. 54% of the US LinkedIn users earn over $100,000 annually. This is the complete concentration of where there's wealth, decision-making power that you simply can't find anywhere else. So if you're selling high-ticket B2B services in any capacity, this is where your people are, complete period. Now, if this opportunity is so obvious, the question becomes, well, why isn't everyone doing it? And it's really because there's 3 persistent myths that keep B2B service providers stuck in these outdated lead gen methods. The first myth is that LinkedIn is just for job seekers. Now, this might have been true 10 years ago, but today, 89% of B2B sales professionals say LinkedIn is actually essential for closing deals. So it's absolutely not a job board anymore. It's a sales and relationship building machine. The next thing is people saying that I just don't have time to post every day. And the truth about that is that businesses that just post even once a week can sometimes get even more engagement than those who don't post at all. So, well, of course they are, right? Because if you're doing nothing, you're going to get nothing. So you don't need to be Gary Vaynerchuk. You just need to be strategic and consistent, because one high quality post each week is enough to at least start building some kind of momentum. And the third myth is that my audience isn't on LinkedIn. And I hear this all the time, especially from people in niche industries. But let me ask you this. Are you selling to other businesses? Do your clients actually have a LinkedIn profile? And the answer is almost always yes. And here's something that most people don't realize. 82% of B2B buyers review a LinkedIn profile before taking a meeting. So your ideal clients are already researching you on LinkedIn, whether you like it or not. So the question is, what are they finding when they actually get there? So let's talk about what it's actually costing you to ignore LinkedIn. And I'm not just talking about money, although of course that's a big part of it. I'm talking about 3 things that every B2B business owner desperately wants, but can't seem to get from their current lead gen methods. First, you're losing predictable lead flow. Because if you're relying on referrals, you're basically at the mercy of other people's timelines. And if you're only running paid ads, you're basically one algorithm change or budget cut away from 0 leads. LinkedIn gives you a system that you can control because you own the content, you own the relationships, and then you own the pipeline as a result. Secondly, you're missing out on high quality inbound conversations, because when someone reaches out to you after consuming your content on LinkedIn, they're basically pre-sold. They already know who you are, what you do, and why you're different. Now compare that to a cold lead from a Facebook ad who's never heard of you and they're just looking for the cheapest option. There's no real comparison to that. The third thing is that you're giving up authority positioning in your market, because when your ideal clients search for solutions in your space, your competitors are showing up with optimized profiles, consistent content, and thousands of engaged followers, whereas you're invisible. And in B2B, if you're not visible, then you basically just don't even exist. So why does LinkedIn then work so well for B2B lead gen when other platforms end up falling short? And it really comes down to three core advantages. The first thing is that LinkedIn is an intent-driven platform, not a distraction-based one. So when someone opens Instagram or TikTok, they're typically looking to be entertained. Whereas when someone opens LinkedIn, they're much more in a professional mindset. They're looking for solutions, insights, opportunities. So your content isn't competing with dance videos, it's competing with other business ideas, which means that the barrier to entry and bar is just lower, whereas the actual quality of the attention is much, much higher. The second thing is that LinkedIn has built-in credibility signals. Because your profile shows your experience, your recommendations, and your endorsements, also your network. Before someone even reads your post, they can see that you are legitimate. And this is why 82% of B2B buyers check LinkedIn profiles before meetings, because the platform does half of the credibility building work for you. The third thing is that LinkedIn rewards long-form content that actually educates and converts. Unlike Twitter or Instagram, where you're limited to sound bites and visuals, LinkedIn actually lets you go deep, because you can write a 1,500-word post breaking down a framework, you could share a case study, you can tell a story or a blog post. And because the algorithm favors engagement over follower count, even a small account can actually reach thousands of ideal clients when it has the right type of content. So if I was to give you an example of what this could look like in practice, imagine you're a marketing agency owner and you've been spending 10K a month on Facebook and Google ads, and you're getting leads, but the quality is quite inconsistent because you're finding half of them ghost after the first call and the other half are just price shopping basically. So you decide to shift your strategy. You actually optimize your LinkedIn profile to speak directly to your ideal client. You start posting just once a week, sharing frameworks, case studies, insights from your work with clients. And you're not selling, you're actually educating. Now, within 60 days, you find something shifts. You start getting inbound messages from people who have been following your content, and they're not asking about price. They're actually asking about your availability. And you're now booking 5 to 8 qualified sales calls every week organically without even spending $1 on ads. Now, this doesn't need to be hypothetical. This is the exact type of transformation that we see with our clients at Influx, and it's available really to anyone willing to show up consistently while providing value. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Alex, I get it. LinkedIn's the opportunity, but how do I actually turn this into leads? And that's a great question. Let me break down the 3-part system that we use at Influx to generate predictable, high-quality leads for our clients. Now, the first part of this is really an optimized profile, because your LinkedIn profile is your 24/7 sales page. It needs to immediately communicate who do you help, what problem do you solve, and why should someone actually care. Now, most profiles are just glorified resumes, and yours needs to be a conversion tool. The second part is really that it's the content engine. So this is where you deliver weekly value that actually educates your market, it builds trust, and it positions you as the authority. So you're not just posting motivational quotes only, you're sharing frameworks, case studies, and insights that your ideal clients can't find anywhere else. Now, the third part is a strategic outreach strategy. So this isn't about spamming connection requests, it's about building relationships with the right types of people. You want to start conversations and then move people into your pipeline. Now, when you do this correctly, it actually feels more like networking instead of selling. Now, when these 3 parts come together, then you have a system that generates leads while you sleep. And the best part is that you actually own it. It's no ad platform that can take it away from you. So basically, this is where we are. You now know that LinkedIn is the biggest untapped lead source for B2B in 2025, 2026 and beyond. And you know that a large majority of B2B leads from social media actually come from this one platform. You also know that your ideal clients, the ones with real budgets and decision-making authority, they're already over there. And you also know the 3-part system that we can leverage to turn LinkedIn into a predictable lead gen machine. So the question then becomes, well, what are you actually going to do with the information? Now, if you do want to see how we implement this type of system for our clients, I put together a free breakdown. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below, and it will walk you through the entire process step by step. You'll have some real examples, real data, the types of strategies that we leverage to guarantee our clients at least $50,000 in pipeline opportunity within 90 days. So if you do want to check out the breakdown of that, I've left a link again in the description box below. If you're really serious about building a predictable, high quality lead gen system, then I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this. If this video has also been helpful, please do take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side here.